So we've seen how we can reference DWG files in AutoCAD or regular AutoCAD files. And I've mentioned before that you can reference other file types like DWF, DWFX files, which is AutoCAD's image file that you can create from a DWG file. It's from Autodesk. PDFs, JPEGs, TIF files. You can also reference in DGN files, which is another CAD program file type used with MicroStation. Let's open up the xrefs.dwg file. Now in this file, we have two different reference drawings. One is a hockeyrink.dwg file, and another is a hockeyrink.bmp file. So we have an ice rink example file, that's the CAD file, and then an image file. So one thing about xrefing files, whether they're DWG or they're bitmaps or PDFs, you work with them essentially the same way. When you select it, the properties palette comes up showing you that it's an xref, and you get a contextual external reference ribbon command line here. When I select an image file, I get the same sort of thing, but it is a little bit different. So I can clip an image just like I would a CAD file. I can manipulate it similarly. One difference is this reference or the inverse doesn't quite work the same on an image file, but I can just remove the clipping just the same way. Now, if you have an image that you scanned or took a picture of and it really kind of has a transparent background, in this case, this is filled in white, but you can select that and turn on the background transparency, and so it'll be see-through. You'll be able to use that with PDF files quite often. Another control feature you have is the brightness and contrast, so you can adjust that accordingly. Another nice feature you have is the fade. What this will do is kind of fade it back a little bit so that your image isn't as strong. And you might want to do that in the case that you're putting background image behind it. Say maybe you were tracing the image or doing something to it and you want to show it in the background with your line work on top. Make sure though that your draw order has it to the back. So if you select the image, type in DR for draw order, bring it to the front, it's going to cover up all of your CAD line work, even with the fade set really high. Now, the higher the number for the fade, the higher the fading is. So a fading set to 100 means that it's completely faded away, 100% fade. Set to 0 means no fade at all. So you can just select it, right click, go to draw order, and send it back. Now you can see here with 0 fade, it's really difficult to see my CAD line work. So when I select it, change my fading so that now I can still see the image, but I can also see the CAD line work. That's something you may need to mess with when you're trying to work with image files that you've referenced in. So that's a lot of different ways to manage your xrefs with the different file types. They all essentially work the same way, but yet they work a little bit differently. Now, one thing that I didn't mention that I want to make sure I do before we go is you see this image has that frame around it. Well, if you type in the word image frame, press enter, we have 3 settings. 0 for off, which will turn that image off. And what that means is that you won't see that box around it. So if I go to clip this, I don't see that image, but I can still select it and work with it. If I type in image frame again, set it to 1, I'll see the line around it, and that line is going to print. If I set image frame to 2, I'll see that line, but it's not going to print. So keep that in mind. If you keep getting boxes around your images that you don't want when they print, check that image frame setting. And there are similar frame settings for different file types, like a PDF. And so instead of image frame, you'll type in PDF frame. And another way to clip your CAD files is to use the xclip command. Well, for images, you want to use image clip. For PDFs, you use PDF clip. But one of the easiest ways to do it is to just select the image, the PDF, the CAD file, and just get up to your create clipping boundary option right there.